Well, welcome back to another fun-filled, exciting episode of Grace and Grit Mindset Podcast. That's a joke because I don't think my episodes are fun-filled and exciting. That's not really my cup of tea, is it? So usually you probably come here because you are stressed out, anxious, overwhelmed, and you need things to be quiet. So that is what I'm all about. My name is Shana Williams, and I have a ministry, and I help women unclutter their minds so they can hear the Lord. I mean, honestly, that's what I do. So I'm super happy to be able to share things with you and just kind of take you along this journey with me of how God has really overhauled my life and my thought processes and brought me into a place of where I am so much happier and so much lighter, and I have freedom, and I have a joy that I don't know that I've ever had most of my life. And I was a Christian forever. I've been a Christian most of my life, but there was always a heaviness and always a sadness and just kind of this lingering depression. But God has brought me through that. It's taken a really long time, but he's taught me how to think like him. And it's really an inner work thing that you and the Lord have to, you have to come alongside him and let the Holy Spirit partner with you, or you partner with him and let him teach you how to think. So I think I have a PhD in it, and I'm happy and I'm excited to be able to share with women or whomever feels like, hey, I don't want to live in this crap hole I've been in my whole life, you know. And I don't know if you can hear that. That's rain outside. So I think we're about to have a torrential downpour today here in East Texas. So bear with me if you hear rain or lightning and thunder. It just goes along with, it's about par for living in East Texas. You never know what you're going to get. But I'm super excited because I'm starting a series with you about creativity, and this is called Created to Create. This series is going to be called Created to Create, and I want to share something with you that maybe you've never thought of before, but I don't know if you realize this, but creating art, and I'm going to get into what art is exactly, because it may not be exactly what you think, is very therapeutic. I cannot tell you how therapeutic it is. Beyond anything you could probably imagine. Maybe you see yourself as like, hey, I'm just a computer person, or I don't know, I work in a hospital, I'm a nurse, and I'm not really creative. I'm very analytical and all these things. I promise you, you have something about you that is creative in some way. It may not be the same way that I'm creative. You may not be a paint an artist that gets a paintbrush out or sketches things or makes pottery or sculptures things or creates music or writes poetry or whatever. But I promise you, there's probably something you're very creative about. And so let's just look for just 1 second at the fact that God himself is the ultimate creator, and we're made in his image, which means we carry some of that creativity. And I believe that every single person on the face of the earth carries this creative spark inside of them in some way. That is, it's something that God gave them. It's a piece of him, if you will. It's this creative part of him that when that person can dial into it, understand how powerful it is, they can use it to help people around them and also for therapy for themselves. So how I got started, initially, when I was in my I was always in music, but when I was in my late teens, I got married when I was 18, really young. And I was already very musical. I had been in band my whole life. I had been raised in a Christian home. My parents were always in a gospel band. My dad was a musician. So I was always kind of drug around to different events and revivals going on, or singings as they were called back then, that my mom and dad were a part of. And not only that, but also was in choir and just all the stuff. And I loved music. I excelled in it, to the point that I would just do very well in competitions. And I just knew it was like I don't want to say first love, but beyond Jesus, it was like the thing that I just found myself in, you know what I mean? Like, music was always home for me. Like, whenever I would feel overwhelmed or frustrated or undone in some way, I could always play music or sing or listen to music, and it would bring me back into focus, bring me back to a place of peace and calm. And so when I turned about 19 or 20, right after I got married, I started to wake up with, I would say, like, songs in the middle of the night, and I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest with you. I just knew a few chords on the piano, and that's just because I had been raised around my dad, who was obviously a piano player, so I just picked things up. I already knew how to play guitar at that point, but it just became like this thing. I kind of became obsessed with it because I would hear like these songs. I would hear lines from a song, and it would just inspire me. So I would wake up and write them, or I would hear them periodically during the day or whatever, and it just got stronger and stronger. And I would write poetry, because basically song lyrics are poetry set to music. It's basically what a good song, anyway, I think. And so that's how it started with me. But I found that this creativity initially in its most pure form was this way that I could connect to God, and I could express either worship to him, or he could express to me something he's trying to teach me about him. And in that purest form, it's really beautiful, because at that point, you're not really trying to make it into some kind of platform performance thing, right? So if I'd have just left it there, it would have been so beautiful, but I took it in a direction that became very performancy. And if you want to hear more about that or learn more about that, not so much my journey, but really, I guess, uncovering God's destiny for your life, that's all in my first book, Providence, Embrace Your Beautiful Destiny. So that's what that book is about, is kind of me coming to this realization of how to embrace the destiny that God's given me, even though it doesn't look like what I thought it was going to look like. And I found that in a very challenging, difficult way, a very heart-wrenching way, by losing a record deal and really just all the things that I felt like were perceived failures of me not being able to make it big in the music industry. And then coming back to a place of where I remembered what worship really was. And I came back to that purity of just creating art or music because it made me feel better. Not because I was trying to make somebody buy it or be the next hit, or how can I get famous from this song? I mean, no Christian artist really says that out loud, but they're probably thinking it underneath all of the layers of things. You're thinking, okay, how can I do this well enough that I could quit my job? And what happens when you do that is you lose the purity of why you were doing it to begin with, because I believe these gifts of creativity are first and foremost a way for you and God to connect. He's given you this beautiful way that you and him can kind of go to this secret place together. And in my mind, where I see myself with the Lord and where he takes me is like this Alice in Wonderland place. And please don't turn the podcast off because I said that. Let me explain that. So when I was a kid, my favorite book was Alice in Wonderland, and I had it. This is one of the few gifts I remember getting as a child. My mom and dad for Christmas one year got me these little read-along books, and they had a little tape. So this is, back in the day, that had a tape player, and the tape that came with it, and it would read the book to you, and you would just read along with it and turn the pages. And I listened to that over and over and over, specifically Alice in Wonderland. I had almost all of the stories like that, Dumbo and that one and Cinderella, and a lot of them, but for some reason Alice in Wonderland was my favorite. And I just feel like I think it was that way because the place that I've found where I really meet with the Lord is in the creative space. And I want to encourage you that there is a place that you can go to with God that is not of this world. It is so beautiful. It is so created for just you and him. For me, when you think about Alice in Wonderland, you think about all of the crazy, beautiful colors in the forest and the mushrooms, and there's all these weird things that are just so different, so unique. And it's just this big, huge explosion of color and songs and different kinds of animals that you've never seen before. That's the place I go to with the Lord when I create. And what it has done for me is it's brought me so much healing. So you're thinking, but I'm not creative. I bet you are. I bet you just haven't really put the pieces together. Like for instance, my husband loves to bake. And like when he bakes, he loves it. It's like therapy to him. You know what it's like to me? It's like torture, right? But he loves it. He loves to do woodworking. I would destroy, like if I try to make a table, y'all, it would be bad. But when he does it, it's beautiful and he loves it, and he comes inside and he's just so lit up from it. It's like this place that he goes to with God. And so I want to encourage you, if there's something you love to do, and it's not, quote unquote artistic. It's not painting or, pottery or whatever you think is artistic. I just still want you to think about, what is it that you love to do? That is some kind of form of creativity for you. That could look so different for everyone. My mom is fantastic at making cakes. She's like the cake lady and the cupcake lady around here. And she never even really knew that she was good at that. I just like a year and a half ago, around the same time that I started making soap and body butter, which was another creative outlet that God used to heal me, by the way. It just switched out of music into like something more tangible with my hands. My mom started making cakes at the same time, and she just started like really learning how to do it, watching videos, and now she's got her own little business. She loves it. She's obsessed with making cakes. There's something about it that I think makes her feel, first of all, she's sharing that beautiful gift with the world, and it's serving people in such a great way. But it's also like a connection point, I think, for her and the Lord. And I don't know if you see your creativity that way. And maybe your creativity doesn't look like that. Maybe it's coming out in a different way. Maybe you're just super creative at being a mom. Maybe you're just really good at handling all of the many things that go along with being a mother. And maybe your creativity is in some other form. It really doesn't matter. The thing that I'm trying to bring to the surface here is that seeing it in a new light as a way that you and God connect, but a way that God can heal you. So even though for me, music was my first love with art, it was a safe place for me. When my emotions had nowhere to go, I could really just start writing and uncover what was really going on. It's kind of like journaling. So that's what I would say. If you're a person who journals, have you tried turning your writing into poetry? That's one of my favorite things to do. I absolutely love writing poetry. It is so much fun. Or writing out your prayers, but being more creative with the way you write. Try to write a little bit different. Try to just tap into that. If you love to write, there's a great chance that you maybe could write in a more artistic way. Blogging. I think blogging, I'm going to tell you something. I discovered blogging when I was coming out of, I had gotten canceled with the record label I was with, recording label. Said, you know what, we really like you, but we feel like God's taken you a different direction. We'll leave you as like an honorary member of the label, but we're really not going to push you anymore. We're not going to really work with you. So talk about being devastated, because all of my musical dreams just kind of went up in smoke. But what happened was I had to go back to work doing mortgage stuff, and I was so angry with the Lord. I mean, I'm just being honest here. I was so angry, and I was like, how can you give me what I wanted and what I thought was my destiny, and then just take it away from me and make me sit here and work at this bank that I hate so much? But what happened was I didn't have time anymore to do, and I was getting older. At this point, I was in my 30s, and, I had a child, and she was in middle school and almost in high school, and we were super busy and involved at church with the worship team there. So, and the season had come and gone for me to have my own band and travel. I felt God close that door, and it was devastating to me, to say the least. But what happened though is I found myself wanting to write, but needing not a platform, but needing a place to do it. And so I moved from songwriting into blogging. And that's when I discovered that I could write more things than just music. So if that had never happened to me, God closing the musical door, I never would have realized I had this other gift. And it was just a creative outlet, and I loved it. So from the blogging, I actually moved into writing books. And that's when I really realized, wow, this is like the whole thing underneath all of this is a gift of writing. That like writing is my gift, whether it comes out as a song or as a book or a blog or a message in some way. And so, but it just opened up that whole other door. So I want to just say, maybe your creativity could move in that direction. And two, maybe as you get older, I feel like it can move around, and that's okay. Like if you're stale in this one area of creativity, you can try another one. I'm actually doing that right now. I have a harp that my husband bought me that I've got to tune it myself, and I'm going to start teaching myself how to play the harp, because I need like a different instrument. I love piano and guitar, but I'm kind of tired of it, and I want to move into something else. And so I'm doing that. I'm also looking into taking some pottery classes, and just these different, because what I've found is when I do that, I get to there's a reality that's released to me from the Lord about something He's trying to teach me, right? So it's really cool when you can see it as an expression that God, not only for you to have therapy, but also, and for you to get healing, but also as an expression that God wants to partner with you to express something about Him to the world, right? So, and then I eventually went into podcasting, and then I eventually went into doing the apothecary stuff. If you don't know, I have a business called Vine and Branch Apothecary. I make soap, spa products, body butters, lotion bars, lip balms, all kinds of really fun stuff. I love it. It's been so much fun. Creativity, I just want to say creativity evolves as you evolve. And I hate to use evolve, but it's really kind of true. As you get older, creativity is going to maybe change with you. It's a healing companion for you in every season. In every season, there is some kind of creative spark that maybe you haven't tapped into that could come along beside you as a healing companion. And it grows with your calling, and it's a part of your spiritual DNA. And I love this. God gives you, He keeps giving you new ways to express what He's doing in your life. That's a better way than what I tried to say a minute ago. God keeps giving you new ways to express what He's doing in your life. So the question is, what is God doing in your life? And what creativity could you release that would be an expression of what He's doing in your life right now? Right? So I hope some of this is resonating with you, and it's kind of like, hey, you know what? I need to start getting creative again, right? Because I feel like I've put it on the shelf because I'm so busy just being a wife. I'm so busy just being a mom. I don't have time for creativity. I'm going to tell you that's a huge, huge lie. Don't fall into the trap of I don't have time to be creative. It is a lifeline for you. Some people, I had a friend who was really a fitness. She was a trainer, and she was really into fitness. She took really good care of her body. And she loved, one of the things she loved to do, her creative spark was to design fitness routines for people. So, she absolutely loved it, everybody's different, right? Some people, I have another friend who she does all kinds of stuff, but she just released a cookbook that is full of like superfood recipes, and so she really has a passion, and it's different than anything she's really released that I think, but she just had this passion for like, hey, I want to share the creativity I found in this part of my life about eating healthy and actually looking at preparing meals and hospitality as like an expression of God's love to me and my friends and family. So why Why does creativity matter for your soul? It's a huge question, because it gives emotions a place to land. See, creativity is this space where you can actually let your emotions land, and it's a safe place for them to do it. It's an expression where you can do that. Here's something most people don't know, that creativity, art, helps your nervous system regulate. It absolutely helps your nervous system regulate. It's because it causes you to relax. It causes you to lower cortisol. It causes you to also release these feel-good hormones, the dopamine, the serotonin. There's a joy and there's a happiness that we all need. And because of that, it will pull you out of fight or flight because you feel so good when you do it. It reconnects you to yourself when your life feels scattered. Doesn't it though? I mean, there was this thing that I would find that I would be falling apart, and I would just go grab my guitar and I would sit down and I would maybe sing one of my old songs or 3 or 4 of them in a row. And I would just say, God, this is home for me. This is home for me. And it just would bring me back to, like, I had been scattered, but it would pull me back together. And it also becomes a sanctuary and not a performance. And that's huge, because you don't want to turn this into, and this is what the world does with your gift, by the way, turn this beautiful creative gift into a performance, to where you're on a stage and you're doing this in front of everybody. Hey, if God ever opens up the door for you and you're healthy, in a healthy space for that, that's fine, but it will be because of an overflow and not because you performed your way into it. It's going to happen because it's an overflow. You don't want it to be about performance. Creativity should never be about performance. You should be able to create with or without an audience. Like, creativity, you love the thing so much that you would do it if no one else ever heard or read or saw whatever your art was, right? That's how you know you really, really love it and it means so much to you. And it's a stress release. So stress compounds when we only operate in survival mode. You know, a lot of us are in survival mode right now. And so we can't release the stress. And yes, you can go for a walk. That's great. Yes, you can deep breathe. That's great. You should do it. But there's also this beautiful thought of using creativity as a stress release. It shifts your brain from pressure to presence, right? The movement of your hands slows your thoughts. It kind of gives your physical body an outlet for kind of what you're feeling, because you can't create and panic at the same time, right? You just can't. You got to do one or the other. So there were seasons when writing songs or journaling was the only place my mind stopped racing, and that is the absolute truth. And that was God using creativity as therapy long before I had the language for it. He was using the creativity for me as therapy, and I didn't even know he was doing that. Yeah, so I hope that you are getting something out of this. You know, something to remember about creativity is it's not perfection, it's presence. Don't get caught up in the I have to make this thing that I'm creating perfect. That's going to completely rob you of the joy of the creativity, and also rob you of any blessing that it can bring. It can bring the peace and the joy and kind of stabilization back, bring you back to an equilibrium, I guess would be a great way. So it's never been about perfection or performance. God just gave you that gift. I think what I'm trying to say is God gave you this creative gift, whatever it is, first and foremost, I think, as a way for you to connect with Him, because He's an artist too, and He loves to create, and He loves to partner with us to create, but also as therapy for you, as a way to soothe yourself, as a way to pull you back into pull your pieces of your scatteredness back to wholeness and remembering who you are. It's therapy for you. And then thirdly, after all that, maybe you can release it to other people and it can be healing balm for them too. But don't ever get it out of order. Don't try to create to heal or to help or to whatever it is, to be noticed, to perform. You want to create from the pure place of just partnering with God and experiencing healing in your own life. and letting him reveal and express things to you. And then as that is done in a healthy way and you are okay, then you can release that into the world and it can help other people. But none of my creativity seasons have looked perfect, but I would say this, every single one of them has healed me. And I love when you tie creativity together with worship. I feel like this is something so many people have got to understand. Your creativity, when it's poured out like that, is worship unto God. Think about David and all the Psalms he wrote. Were they perfect? No. Were they super emotional? Yes. But it wasn't about perfection. It was literally about him pouring out his worship to God. That's what your creativity is. And think of it that way. It's not just some escape for you. It's not just whatever. It's the therapy, but it's also worship unto God. When you make these beautiful things or whatever it is that you do, I don't know what it is, but it's all, it becomes like a silent prayer and a resting place and a conversation for you and the Lord. And when you start to invite him into it, or when you start to realize he wants to invade that space with you and he wants to co-create. He doesn't want to take the reins and do it all. He doesn't want you to do it apart from him. He wants to be a co-laborer with you. Perhaps, I know how he does for me, is he gives me this spark of the inspiration. And that's where everything starts for me. I have this spark and it's inspirational. It's a phrase, it's a thought, it's a concept. And then I take that and I start to build on it, and he starts to reveal things to me. It could be a book idea. It could be a blog. It could be a podcast episode. It could be a teaching. It could be a song. It could be soap. It could be some kind of apothecary thing. I have it all constantly going in my head, but he likes to co-labor with me. I'm not over here trying to just think of something on my own. I'm just seeking him and practicing being in his presence and knowing that he's the vine and I'm the branch, and I can't do anything apart from him. And as I'm doing that and just loving him and worshiping him, he gives me these little ideas. And it's not even in the middle of these worship sets. It's just like random things just kind of fall out of the sky into my head. I had that yesterday. I'm in the process of writing another book. It's been a few years because my life fell apart, and I'm going to write a book. I've already started it, and I've already got kind of the outline and everything and the first chapter written. And then I had this thought of, I have another idea for a second book I think would be a nice sequel to this. And so then I realized, but then there's another book, there's a trilogy, there's another one behind that book. And so my brain took off, and I went into creative space with the Lord of like, what is this trilogy about? What are these 3 books? They build on each other. And it's this beautiful concept of really inner healing with Jesus at the center, with God at the center of this, but also learning how to think better thoughts. It's a lot of the stuff I talk about here. So if you like this, you're going to love these books. But, here's some ideas to reignite creativity for you. Okay. So like maybe you're like, I'm not creative. Okay. Well, first of all, stop saying that. So here's some things you could do, right? A 10-minute creative pause. You can write, sketch, paint, arrange flowers, knead dough, stir wax, play an instrument. I also make like wax snaps. So it's fun, like stirring wax or like making soap, because I do like super creative, artistic designs with my soap. Find something like that, arranging flowers. That sounds super fun to me, right? Maybe it's interior design. Maybe you like designing things like that. My sister loves that. That's like her space, Find that thing. Do it. Create a 10-minute creative pause. Do that thing if you only have 10 minutes, just do it, And then here's another thought. What did you do as a child that you loved? Was it coloring or singing or crafting or doing puzzles or stickers or reading or writing? I loved to sing. I loved to read. I loved to dance. That was, all those things are things I still love to do. But, as we get older, we are like, oh, I'm too old. Like, I have to be in the real world. I have to do the adult thing. No, go back and grab some of these creative things you love to do as a child. Not because you're trying to make a living doing it, just because it brings you joy, for crying out loud. It is okay to have joy, y'all. It is okay to have these beautiful moments of pure joy in the presence of God because you're doing something that makes you so happy because He made you that way, right? You could even do something like create a small creative corner, like put some, I'm just giving you practical ideas here, a tray with markers, a journal, things like that. What is it? What is it that you need to do? For me, I like for my office to feel a certain way. Like when I come in here to write, especially, I want to have, I want it to feel cozy. I need the lighting to be just right. I want a candle lit. I want to have maybe some hot tea or hot coffee. There's a thing I like. There's the thunder, and that helps me create. So create that space for you that will help you be creative. So just start small, start where you are, but just remember that you're created to create. You're made in the image of God, and He's a creator. It's not random. It's a God-given lifeline for you, and it will heal places you didn't know that you needed healing. It will reconnect you to the Holy Spirit, to yourself, and to peace. So, yeah. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, and I'm going to be expounding on some of this in some more episodes. Like I said, this is going to be a series, so I hope that you come back and join me for the next one. Don't forget, you can go to my website. My address changed to shanawilliams.com. I've got blog posts there. I've got a bunch of stuff about the Marriage Altar, which is our marriage ministry me and my husband are working on and building for coaching and counseling. You can also see all of my songs and my books and stuff like that. So please reach out to me if you want to tell me how you're doing. I'd love to know if this is helping you. Shana at shanawilliams.com. And until then, I will see you guys soon. Bye.